glad you're here. Can the resistance resist the urge to fire Nancy Pelosi? Last night's stinging defeats in Georgia and South Carolina have some Democrats calling for Pelosi to retire and give the party a fresh face. Texas Congressman Philemon Vela did not mince words in the aftermath of the losses, saying, quote, "I think you'd have to be an idiot to think we could win the House with Pelosi at the top." Joining me now to offer some insight is Democratic strategist Richard Fowler. He's also a Fox News contributor. Welcome back, Richard.
Hey, Kennedy, how are you?
So,
You're live.
I know, isn't that exciting? Look at us, just snuggling digitally. So I have always thought that Nancy Pelosi is a big fraud and she's a troublemaker. Now there are people on the left saying that she should hang up her Jimmy Choos. What do you think?
Well, I think you have to take a broader look at the Georgia 6th, right, before you can make that determination. Here's what we know. The Georgia 6th has been in Republican hands since 1979. And that had no chance of changing. I think where we had a little bit of fake news is that Democrats actually believe they could win this seat and spent all this money trying to win a seat that we have no chance of winning because
it was almost like Hillary, though, because you had a lot of money coming in and a great ground game, and there were a lot of Democrats that said that is unbeatable. That is an unbeatable combination. And John Ossoff was within 2 points of winning the seat outright in the first special election.
And I think that was the only time when we had a chance was during this sort of primary, in the jungle primary. When you got to the general, we never had a shot to win to begin with because Republicans outnumbered Democrats in the district almost 2 to 1.
Oh, come on now. That is crying over spilt milk. Okay, but answer this. I want to know why put so much money into this race and claim that this race is the bellwether, and this is where Democrats planted their flag if you knew he was going to lose. Why raise expectations?
Well, but I think that was idiotic. That's what I'm saying, Kennedy, here. I think Democrats should have known better by just looking at the data. The data would have simply told Democrats they could not win this seat. What Democrats need now more than ever is a clear, concise message on what they plan on doing for the American people.
That's what they've always needed.
Right?
That's what they needed, and that's what everyone said after November.
Absolutely.
That's what everyone said in 2014. I mean, how far back do you have to go to realize that bad history keeps repeating itself for your party?
I hear you, and I think there's something, but there is something else here that I think is more important than Democrats, is what the voters in the Georgia 6th and the South Carolina 5th and the Kansas 4th and the Montana 1st told us. They told us that what they want from Washington is for Washington to actually work together. They want Trump to reach across the aisle. They want Democrats to work with Trump, but the president here is the one who has to take the lead and say, I'm going to work with Democrats and not pass the health care bill in silence.
Those excuses don't cut it and they don't win seats. You guys are going to have to come up with better ideas and better candidates.
I mean, I think Donald Trump needs to work with Democrats.
I would love to continue this discussion. I'm up against a hard break. That's how I like it. Thank you so much. I love you too, Richard.
Your head about how it could happen.
Brianna, you just came back from Georgia where they had that special election last night, and Karen Handel won the election. Democrats poured in tens of millions of dollars to try to win. They didn't. Democratic Congresswoman Kathleen Rice of New York, she reacted to this Democratic loss by telling CNN, I'm quoting her now, "We need leadership change. It's time for Nancy Pelosi to go and the entire leadership team." We heard similar calls after the Democrats lost the House, lost the Senate, lost the White House last year in November of 2016. Are we going to see any changes this time?
It's hard to see where there is going to be a change in the immediate future unless there is more widespread calls than this. Certainly, I think what you're seeing, though, is some what is normally private sentiment or semi-public sentiment bubbling up in an even more strong way. You see that from Congresswoman Rice. But when you talk to, for instance, people close to Speaker Pelosi, they say, they have created opportunities for younger members to develop themselves politically so that they can sort of push forward with some of their political ambitions. But they say, you shouldn't let Republicans pick who the Democratic leaders are going to be. Nancy Pelosi is a very good fundraiser. She's a consensus builder. She has this background, certainly as a whip, where she is able, I think, sometimes to unite Democrats in a way that I think might even make Republicans jealous at times. But this is very serious frustration that you're hearing from some of the younger ranks. They are very frustrated, and I think anyone will look at what is going on with Democrats and say there needs to be the development of more talent beyond what you're seeing now, because there does seem to be this older guard, and that's not going to push Democrats.
Stand by, everybody. I've heard a lot of that complaining quietly today as well. Just ahead, the Republican Senate health care bill shrouded in mystery. Tonight, White House staffers are heading to Capitol Hill to learn more. We will as well. Stay tuned.
And he won. He is due a victory lap.
Jen Psaki, I want to bring you into this discussion right now and talk about what Democrats are feeling tonight and maybe some of the infighting that's existing. Seth Moulton, congressman from Massachusetts, he wrote last night as this was still raw. He said, Ossoff race better be a wake-up call for Democrats. Business as usual isn't working. Time to stop rehashing 2016 and talk about the future. A lot of people now talking about the future in the Democratic Party, including some people running for Congress, even a couple members saying that Nancy Pelosi shouldn't be part of that future. Your thoughts?
Well, I think a lot of what Seth Moulton had to say is right, and Democrats should be listening to that. We should stop litigating 2016. We should learn the lessons and start applying them moving forward. Look, I think Nancy Pelosi, there is no one better at getting a backroom deal done. Healthcare wouldn't exist without her. I do think there's a strong argument bubbling up among the Democrats you talk to on the Hill about the need for new leadership. Whether that's now or 2 years from now or 4 years from now is sort of the question they're going to have to work through. The problem, though, John, is that nobody is emerging to run against her. And there hasn't been a member who has come up and said, I'll take her on. Tim Ryan was not really a serious candidate. So that's a key part of really having new leadership, at least in the House, in the party at this point.
Jason Miller, you're among the Republicans, I think facetiously you've said, like, we want Nancy Pelosi to stick around. You like running against her in those races. I'm not even going to let you comment on that because I know that's what you would say.